Hey, Z Moody, how's it going? I was like hustling to get this stuff done for work, so I'm running just a few minutes behind, but that's okay. All right. Let's, start doing some stuff. Oh, right on. Well, I appreciate that. About to throw some paint down. Gonna actually keep this one probably a little simpler. In that I'm gonna basically just keep it monochrome. Ooh, that is a nice color. So I got these two new tubes of paints today that I was very, very excited about. Because I wanted to actually do away with burnt umber on my palette. It's been a staple and maybe a little bit of a crutch for a long time, but I find it a little boring. So I got replacement today. Just gonna get some of this color off, even though it probably doesn't matter, because we'll actually be using some white. Oh, I see, right on. Yeah, so today it's going to be a little different. Last time I was painting from reference. Today I'm going to do like a simple one out of my head. It's also a chance for me to just kind of test out a little different setup with the stream, which so far I like, but if I had to have reference up, it would probably be a little tricky. Also adjust. Light doesn't look right, but I don't think it's gonna change. Oh well. That's a little better actually. Cool. I think. Maybe. No lag, please. Okay, cool. So I just thinned this down with Gamsol, so I kind of just want to... It'll dry out a little bit pretty quick, because that Gamsol dries pretty fast. I probably shouldn't have used quite so much, so I could get more brush marks in there, but that's okay, ultimately. I don't think it matters. Cool. Yeah, it's a little, I was like, I didn't like having to have the phone, because I'm, the painting is being shot from the phone, and I didn't like having to have that, like, between me and the camera, and it just got awkward. I mean, the best thing would be is if I had another DSLR that I could shoot this with, quality-wise, but it would involve just a bigger setup, which I don't know that I want. I actually kind of wanted to pare it down a little bit. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing just basically It'll probably essentially be like an underpainting, in that it's gonna be, for all intents and purposes, monochromatic, even though I will probably be using 2 different tubes of paint along with white. But because the 2 tubes are essentially the same pigment, just processed in a different way, I would still consider it monochrome, right? The 2 colors I'll be using are just a transparent brown oxide, which is what I'm throwing down right now, and a transparent red oxide. But they're both, we can see, well, kind of, you guys probably can't quite see, but they're both from the PR 101 pigment, which is a synthetic iron oxide. So in that sense, they're the same pigment. So I'm going to cheat and say we're still going monochromatic. But basically, I got those to replace burnt umber, Italian Terra Rosa, and burnt sienna, because I just wasn't really feeling those colors. And I like that these transparent oxides are, as they say, transparent, where the others are semi-opaque. I like the control I have in the shadows and stuff with a more transparent pigment. If I want opacity, I can always add either a little bit of white or another opaque color, like the cad yellow. The cadmiums are opaque, if I want that. But for our purposes here, I don't think it'll matter. So this is just getting a ground that I like, that maybe has a little bit of energy. The painting I'm gonna do is fairly simple, which will be nice because it'll allow me a chance to, I don't know, focus on brushwork and just getting a little bit more practice, like kind of painting out of my head. Not that I would normally go in cold to a painting. I would usually have some kind of either a prelim that I've done digitally or some kind of reference or something, right? But for these purposes, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be a kind of pirate-looking dude that has like a glass eye, right? He's going to be like telling a story. Wait, over here? Hey, Fang Bunny, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you again. Well, now you're seeing me. I was seeing you before. Now, you're seeing me. Hello. Oh, yeah, the light reflecting. I know, that's the only shitty thing with a glass palette. I can't wait till my wood palette for this arrives, because, yeah, I hate those reflections. I can see it even here, and it's annoying as hell. So yeah, monochrome with the transparent iron oxide paints. That's what we're gonna focus on today, and we'll see. I'm not gonna say like maybe we'll start adding some color. I don't know if we'll get that far. So we're just gonna kind of run with this stuff. If I can find my brushes that I want for, well, do a filbert. Filberts are fun. We are painting I'm just gonna do a pirate looking dude with like glass eye. He's gonna be like it's like he's gonna be telling a story essentially, right? He'll have a glass eye and he'll be like pointing a knife to it. He's basically like telling the story probably very, overly dramatic about how he got his glass eye. Probably to some young noob pirates. And for something like this, it really would be good for me to have, some kind of a prelim, at least a drawing, which I know I have somewhere, kind of, though I would change it a lot from what the drawing was, but that drawing would probably help me a little bit. To not have to just make things up. Let's see. I might be able to actually find it real quick. We will see. Hard part is I don't know exactly when I would have drawn it. So I don't know if we might. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. That wasn't that hard, was it? Yeah, that'll make it a lot easier. Here, and for everyone's viewing pleasure, I can even give you the link to what I will be looking at. Of course, I automatically had him tilting the other way. Yeah, maybe we'll stick with the drawing and, not overcomplicate things for ourselves. This transparent brown oxide, that stuff's crazy. Like, out of the tube, I mean, I had to squeeze that tube hard. That stuff is thick. It's crazy. But it's cool. I mean, I love the color. I instantly love it more than burnt umber, I have to say. I was getting pretty tired of that burnt umber nonsense. Yeah, I'm not gonna make him quite as like aggressive, like that fist that the other hand is making. I don't think we'll even get the other hand in here, but the fun thing with this is that I am going to be, bringing white in. So we'll get some opaque paint in here. So I'll at least be able to kind of push and pull some things around. So that'll be cool. That'll be fun, I think. So sometimes I'll add just like the barest hint of white if I want to get just a little more opacity, and it's enough to where it lends a little opacity without really lightening the color. Yeah, what is that? Is that five five finger Monty? Is that what it's called? I forget. I should know from Red Dead, right? You can play that in Red Dead. But I don't remember. And this is just me wanting to get landmarks in there. I'm not really worried about being super prescriptive yet. Just because I know that I can kind of paint around. And I'm not really concerned with getting a likeness. So I have nothing to stress about. That's nice. I'm debating. I kind of want to give him like a, bandana. Just make him a little more piratey in that regard. He can still have his hair hanging down. I don't really know what more piratey means because, there's a pretty broad range of pirates. So, more typically piratey, I guess, which for our purposes I think could work. I was originally gonna try and plan something out a little more and actually maybe do some kind of a prelim digitally beforehand, but then stuff started popping up at work, and what time I thought I would have, I no longer had it, so oh well. Good evening, Inkwell. I think it's Five Finger Monty. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not positive. I'm not 100% on that. So I'm trying not to like I'm actively trying not to get super detailed with this part. There's a chance I may add a little bit of, let's just see. So this is the only thing that might throw it off of being strictly a monochromatic painting, which, whatever. Olive green, just to take a little bit of the heat out, if I want it. Since these are very red colors, olive green will kind of mute that saturation a little bit. And so that's the dark in his sleeve, right? But it won't be enough to really throw it off by the end, I don't think. I'll have to decide if I want to get that candle in there or not. I might. Could be fun because, you know, to give us the light source, but I don't know. It depends if I want the full light source in there, or if I would rather have, you know, a highlight like in his glass eye or a highlight on the knife be the brightest thing in the painting, which is probably what I will want. So my guess is we won't have the candle in there. But we can still paint as though it were in there and get our values doing what they should. Inkwell, the menu on today's stream is just kind of doing a sort of a fun painting of a pirate relating the story of how he got his glass eye. Where am I? Am I in chat? I'm not in chat. So if you're just joining, that's the image. It's a drawing I did a while back. I'm not gonna be strict about like really sticking to it. I already gave the dude a bandana on his head, so but it at least gives me something to go off of, so I'm not kind of making it up cold, right? And I do feel like I'm gonna want some little bit of something happening in the background, like not anything clear, just some more sort of, wow, brush, you're just gonna shed all over, aren't you? Jeez. All right, well, good thing is once, actually no, I don't want it to dry. Oh, wow, I haven't had a brush shed like that in ages. No likey. You're not gonna come up, are you? My Apple Pencil doesn't shed. Alright. Well, it doesn't look like it's shedding anymore, so at least there's that. Olive green, just to kick down a bit of that saturation. Yeah, seriously, man. That was crazy. So more than anything, this is like for compositional purposes. You know, if you're gonna do any kind of an abstract background, you at least want it to be a little interesting, right? Also, if you're gonna keep things kind of loose and sketchy, it's best not to take it all the way out to the edges. Right. Meaning, like, you don't want to finish it kind of out to the edges if your intention is to keep it loose. There's something, people tend to just be a bit more forgiving when you don't do that. If you just kind of like, you can have a sort of tight area in your focal point, and then, you know, just let it breathe. So now I'll kind of start doing stuff without really thinning the paint. If I do, I'm gonna use this walnut oil gel right here. So that'll extend the paint, but it won't thin it down, right? But it will also increase drawing time, which is kind of fun. Like I said, this is gonna be almost like an underpainting. I don't know if I'll add color to it. No, I probably will, just because I need to practice. And so extending the drying time at least will keep it wet longer and give me the option to either let it dry completely before adding color, or I can just paint on top of the still somewhat wet underpainting. And I'm not worried about throwing that on top of this because this is so thin and I'm not going to be painting really thick. Normally, actually, yeah, no, that is how I'd want to do it. Brain fart there. You usually want to paint fat over lean, right, with oils, because you don't want the paint on top to dry before the paint on the bottom, or it can crack. But I never paint heavy enough to really worry about that, so whatevs. And of course, as usual, if anyone has any, questions or whatever along the way, feel free to ask. Doesn't have to be about the art that we're doing here. It could be something totally unrelated. We're not picky. I will try and use a big brush kind of as long as I can, until I feel like I really need to get in some more details, which means I can probably put that brush away. Thank you. Yeah, they're fun. Why this brush is getting so brittle. I had it all nicely cleaned and stored, and I'm throwing in mostly, more of the accents right now. Good tips on brush maintenance. Yes. I mean, the main thing is to actually clean, like, fully clean your brushes after, each painting, not just like washing them off in Gamsol, but actually using some kind of a brush conditioner. Trekell makes some really nice brush conditioners, especially if you're working in oils, right? In watercolor, it's still good to do some brush maintenance every now and then, but it's, they're not gonna totally mess up a brush like oils or acrylic. Acrylic, there's just no way around it, right? With acrylics, I would say, like, just don't even bother getting really nice brushes, because no matter what, acrylics are just hard on brushes, and they're gonna chew them up. But with oils, if you do get nice brushes, then the most important thing is to clean them. After you do a thorough washing, I tend to like to use some kind of petroleum jelly. Just to shape them, basically. And you can wipe most of it off, but it's a nice... It'll help the brush keep its shape and keep stuff supple, Yeah, gouache and watercolor. Yeah, same thing. Actually switch to a slightly smaller brush here. This is one of the Rosemary and Company mongoose hair brushes. The one I was just using was also mongoose hair. I am liking their synthetic mongoose, but I still do prefer these. These have more of an organic shape. The synthetic one, I will say, holds its shape better, especially at the smaller sizes, but I don't know. I like the spring and yeah, I think we all did. Hey, thanks, Fanged. I'm glad you were able to pop in. I'll be going probably till about 10, so at some point, if you want to pop back in to see the progress, please do. Cast shadow from the blade. Right, so working on getting his cast shadows in there. gonna try not to overcomplicate, the value structure. I do want to kind of start to. I have the tendency to sometimes do that, and I often have to kind of go back through and simplify. Right. So, one of my all-time favorite artists is Dean Cornwell, and there's a person at my front door. And his main teacher was Harvey Dunn, right? And one of the things that Dunn would say was that once you have a few tones and a few strong tones and a few strong colors laid down, then do your whole painting with those few tones and few colors, right? And you can see it in Cornwell's work a lot. You squint down and most of his paintings, the compositions can be broken into 3 tones, like almost every single one of them. And just the discipline and control it takes to do that is awesome. And I love it. So there is an aspect, like once I start to really get a sense of the value structure, I know I'm going to want to kind of try and simplify that. Right, and then the other thing that Dunn would say that you can also see pretty evidently in Cornwell's work is, he would say, when values are subtle, make the colors contrast, and when values are contrast, keep the colors subtle. And so that kind of push and pull, I think, is something that's very fascinating. Guy has just some kind of a big vest on or something. I probably should have really thought about what the hell he was wearing. So I'm just using some solvent here, Gamsol, just to lift up some of these areas. Although really that wouldn't, if candles down here, that would actually be in shadow. So, JK. It's kind of fun. That really focuses the light. I mean, we'll have some light catching on areas down here too. So I'm just momentarily kind of kicking these down because even though I already threw tone over the whole thing, some of those values are possibly lighter than what I want, and I kind of prefer to be able to paint in the light values, personally. It's just a personal preference. It's a choice. I already know I'm going to want to play with some lost and found edges, which I absolutely love doing. I've probably mentioned them on almost every single stream. Just finessing some accents. I'm gonna start bringing some whites into this and actually really start kind of rendering some of this stuff up a little bit. And do my best not to make it like get too stiff, you know, and that's something that I need to practice on. I know I need to practice on it. So meaning like how can I start to kind of flesh this out and not have it get too stiff. And most of that is in kind of the application of the paint when it comes to oils, right? And it's just sort of like making your choices and getting it done. With digital, you know, it's different. We can play with different layers and we can make mistakes and take them back easily. Or we can just like put a layer over the top and then do some loose brush marks over the top of something that's really rendered and just like loosen it up all nice, you know. Don't quite have those tricks here today, so I gotta rely on my skills. But I think this stuff can also be pretty forgiving, especially with oils. You can still scrape things down, paint back in, you know, it'll take a little longer to do it, but it's not like you're really gonna mess it up unless you've spent hours and hours painting in the wrong direction, you know, and then realize too late, and then it might be a bit more work to get it back to where it needs to be. But we're only 46 minutes in, so we're not at that point. That's a good entry point, Shane. Lennis, welcome! For you new folks, I'm using an old sketch of mine as reference. Loose reference, though. I'm not sticking to it one for one. You know, I'm obviously I added a bandana and stuff, and I didn't like that clenched fist necessarily, not for this. Although now I'm actually kind of liking it, so I might actually end up adding that clenched fist back in. But yeah, just doing a monochrome painting. trying to decide if I want that fist in there. I feel like the table would need to be a little lower down if I even want to really worry about that. Yeah, he's a piratey dude. He's basically like telling some, you know, fish. What is it called when they just over exaggerate? The fish tail, big fish, something or other. Anyway, about how he got his glass eye. I'm sure he probably tells it different every time, and then it gets wilder and wilder depending on how much rum he had. Speaking of rum, salute. So I got these two, by the way. The reason I'm doing this, I think I started saying that and then I got totally distracted by something else. I got these two new colors, right? Because I've been wanting to get burnt umber off my palette. And basically what these allowed me to do is take off burnt umber, burnt sienna, and Terra Rosa, Italian Terra Rosa. Burnt sienna and Italian Terra Rosa are basically the same pigment, just processed a little different. What are they? They're PR 102, the calcined natural iron oxide. They're both semi-opaque, and I love working with transparent colors as much as I can. And they were just, I don't know, I wasn't loving them. And so I replaced them with transparent brown oxide and transparent brown iron oxide and transparent red iron oxide, right? And these are both made from the PR 101, which is a synthetic iron oxide. Both transparent, both very light fast, which is awesome. We always want to consider how archival our colors are. So I only work with fully light fast colors. I will not work anything below like a 1, which is like the top rating. I don't even really work with 2s unless for some reason I have no other choice. But yeah, so this is me basically just wanting to kind of, test out these pigments and see what they're like. And I love them so far. The transparency, I think, gives me so much more room to play. I can add white if I want to make them more opaque, which I will as I start to build this up. And I heard a follow. Dave Steele, thank you for the follow. Sorry I was rambling about pigments. I am mixing them a little bit with the Winsor Newton olive green, which is also transparent pigment. They basically, let's see, what is that? It's a combo of carbon black and some kind of yellow. I'm not sure what. It's not Indian yellow, but I think it's close. It's a PY 110, and I think the Indian yellow is like a PY 84 or 86 or something. So I think it's pretty close. It's basically just a black and a yellow, carbon black and a yellow. But it's also transparent, so I'll mix that in here a little bit, just if I want to take some of the heat out, which I've done down here a little bit. Probably not as evident on the stream, but hey, I like to geek out on pigments. Shit's fun. Of course, right now I'm using this almost like watercolor. I should, if I want lights in here, I should probably start adding some white. But that's okay. and I'm painting on a New Traditions linen panel. I was gonna add that fist in there, but I don't know. I don't really want to. Feel like shoulder is. I don't know. Maybe since it would really just be down, kind of down here somewhere with this guy's posture. So we could have it just kind of peeking up somewhere. Really, I'll need to bring some lights in there to show it. I sometimes have the tendency to trail off without finishing my sentence, especially when I'm doing art. And especially if I feel like, well, that sentence wasn't a groundbreaking revelation or anything, so why waste the breath? Alright, let's start mixing some white in here. Get some midtones going, I think. So this is where it'll be. One of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I'm not terribly familiar with these pigments, and so I don't know how strong they are. You know, it's interesting. So far the transparent brown oxide is super rich when I lay it down when it's wet, but as it dries, I think it mats out a little bit, so it gets a little dull. The transparent red oxide looks like it has a little bit of sheen to it, so I don't know how much that'll mat out. Maybe I should just throw some in somewhere and see what it does. How about that? See what it does over time. I don't really know where I want to. I mean, I don't know if this will dry enough in this session for me to really find out, but we'll see. We'll see. But that's a nice. See, I like these. They're a bit richer than the umbers and siennas and stuff, and I could see these being a lot more useful because I was mixing white and burnt sienna to get just sort of a general flesh tone, right? That I could then push warmer or cooler. Right, more red, more blue, more yellow, however I wanted to go. But this has a much nicer, richer, I was going to say flavor. I haven't tasted it. I probably won't. But more richer color. And that is basically a flesh tone, which makes this kind of monochrome thing even more fun. Although I probably won't use the transparent red for any of the mid and light tones in this stuff, because I think it would look weird if his hair and shirt started going flesh colored. And it'll give it almost a sense of being more full color, which will be kind of interesting. See, it might be kind of interesting, or I might fuck it up along the way. I'll try not to. Shane, how's it going, man? I think you were streaming earlier, right? I was like hustling, trying to get some work stuff done. Had some last minute shenanigans come in. Yeah, I won't taste it. Yeah, I don't know what they use for their binder. Linseed oil. Pretty sure this synthetic iron oxide would be not good for you. Linseed oil, they use that in some of the, like age defending creams to help tighten things up a little bit. Just rub some oil paint on your face. Don't rub oil paint on your face, kids. So I don't know why I'm being so precious with this right now, because it's really the lights that are gonna determine this. And then coming back in with some darks, it'll be some push and pull. We'll have some fun. Get into some real painty shit. Have that. Bit into that face, so I'm gonna break out our little flat here, a little long flat. This is a synthetic brush that I have quite taken a liking to. Again, it's a Rosemary and Company. It's from their Evergreen line. Couldn't really say exactly what's different about it, but it has, I don't know, it just has a nice feel for me. I like it. I like. So, I know I said I was going to get into the lights, but here's one thing that I really learned on the last kind of two paintings that I did, was that I have the tendency to, when I'm oil painting, want to push the lights to solve value issues, and what happens to me is I constantly get too light, right? And so then they all get, like, the values get punched way up to where I'm basically just working with slightly like different shades of white in the lights, and I don't, like, that ain't the way to go. So instead, what I'm doing is I am reinforcing my darks, to get the dark shapes working. Because I don't want to just constantly be pushing into the lights there. I remember looking at the ingredients for those things. Because, you know, I turned 40 this year. I gotta start thinking about preserving my youth. And I'm always just curious as to what the hell people are putting on their faces. It's like, okay, your body's gonna absorb that, you know that, right? And so I'm always curious. It's actually like the better ones, the healthier ones that would use linseed oil. Some of the others had some shit in there that I just couldn't pronounce, and I never liked that. Not that I can pronounce whatever the hell is in olive green, but I'm not putting it on my face. Isoindolinone. I just say PY110 because that's easier. Isoindolinone. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I just paint with it. I don't make it. I'm refraining from painting his glass eye right now because that'll be some rendery shit that I don't need to get into right now. Since we're focused on his face, do you want me to push in on that? You guys care if you like really see the palette? Because I can give y'all a better view since it is small. And I will try to... I was seeing if I could get a little less glare for you. On the painting. I figure at least that'll make it a little easier to see. I'll just have to remember to move it back when we get past the face. I want him to have dark hair, and mostly just for framing purposes. You know, I think it'll be a little more interesting. Alright, now we can... It's funny with that transparent red oxide, like being so close to a flesh tone, I'm having to remember that I'm not actually painting in full color right now. I am still keeping it monochrome. I'm just mixing up some various lights. Want to suck it? What? Lennis, you look super young. The beard? Thank you, Autumn. I appreciate that. No. I do not look younger than you. I mean, I will say, I know I don't really look my age, so I've got that going for me, but, you know, no harm in possibly staving it off a little longer, if I can. Knowing that he's basically bottom lit, right? So gotta catch the bottom of that brow to like really sell it. Bottom of the brow and the bottom eyelid are a couple of the things that really help to kind of sell that lighting scenario. The fun thing with something like this too is kind of once you get some of the values working, you can really just start finishing it out, and it can start to go pretty quickly, you know. So it's not, this isn't one of those where I'm gonna like move around the whole thing and slowly build up everything, right? If the face is my focal point, I will tend to just get into that and start finishing it out. So I'll probably actually move to an even smaller brush pretty quick here. Mostly because most of the work is going to be in the lights. I will kind of do some stuff in the shadows. Like I'll bring in a little bit of, I don't know, about maybe some reflected light or something like that. Right. Ultimately, no matter what we're doing, no matter how rendered or how simple we're going, we're always considering the 5 lights, right? Lights, midtones, shadows, accents, and reflected light. Accents being both highlights or dark accents. And it's kind of up to us how much we want to push into any of those areas, right? in this case, I'm gonna mostly be, I think, playing in the lights, which are very limited. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of it, but so any light that would go into the shadows in this case would just be reflected light, right? So it would be pretty subtle. There's some of these marks. So some of the marks were getting a little noisy. I didn't like them. Didn't like them. I don't know how much smaller I can go. It's a little smaller, right? Going from a 1 to a 0. I wonder if... I'm just looking at the exposure, and I'm wondering if I can tweak it a bit. Because it's thinking some of this stuff is white. So I'm wondering if I bring actual white in, will it... Still doesn't want to adjust. There we go. There we go. Don't underestimate the power of white balancing. I saw up on the stream the teeth looked white, and I'm like, dude, they are not white right now. He's a pirate, he doesn't have white teeth. Right now I don't have any paint on this brush. I'm just wanting to go through and push some edges around. This is a glass eye, so depends on if I actually want it to be like a nice glass eye or just kind of like a cheap one, meaning a nice one might have an actual pupil in it, but I kind of don't want it to. You know, now that I think about it, the original one may not have been a glass eye. It might have just been like a blinded eye. Which might be kind of fun. Because we could also get a scar going, you know? Like telling whoever will listen about his blind eye. And what kind of a pirate would he be if he actually had all his teeth? Bigger. Give it just a little bit of like a kind of pearlescent kind of a sheen, which means kind of getting those lights and darks bouncing around in there, even though probably wouldn't really do that, but that's okay. You want to, you know, mystify him a little bit. I mean, it could if it was a fake eye, but I'm kind of digging the blinded thing. Or who knows? Maybe it is a fake one. We don't have to know that for sure. think this guy's a little crazy. Get that knife. Point going. Just because the calligraphy of the shadow, of the cat's shadow under there is going to be important. So anyone? Is anything they would like to discuss? Please shout out. I know sometimes I'll just go kind of quiet, but that doesn't mean that, you know, we can't get some conversation going. I don't mind. Let's see here. I think we'll be catching a little bit of that brow. Which means painting does take focus, but sometimes I also think that, you know, the slight distraction, you know, can sometimes keep me from overthinking. Granted, sometimes it can also distract you, but, you know, that's okay too. Get that upper lid. Tricky when you start painting small and you gotta do these little kind of push and pull kinds of things, you know, or it won't quite look right, you know, so you gotta get the like light on the bottom of the cheek, then dark on the top of the cheek, then light on the bottom lid, then that dark on just the rim of the lid, you know, and then reverse it as you go up top. Kind of fun though. Gotta say. I am not mad at it. But I want to tone that scar down a little bit. While he's down here, it's a little too dark. I haven't thought too much about how I want to render this knife, but it's okay. It's a little tricky because that mustache might have to catch some light or something on that mustache. Just because I'm looking at where I need this, I think we may just have to move the mustache, which is fine, because I need this cast shadow to do its thing. So let's nix the mustache for a moment. Let's see if maybe we'll just drop it down. Get away with that. have to say I enjoy working with these pigments a lot more than what I had before. I never really, I'd done some underpaintings, you know, with the kind of traditional grisaille sort of style where you're just using like burnt umber and white. Sometimes I would use black as well, just to get the like really dark areas, but I never liked the look of burnt umber and white. Even though in that dwarf painting it turned out okay. But I like these colors so much more. Like, these are actually a lot of fun. And with that transparent red oxide, I mean, it's so close to flesh tone that once this dries, I could just glaze in a little bit of cool here, a little bit of rosiness in his dastardly cheeks, and a bunch of red in his nose because he's probably drunk as shit. But, yeah. And then I'd be good to go. It really wouldn't take much. Yeah, you know, I think we tried it once in Denny Wolgemuth's head painting class. I think he had us do maybe one or two, but he preferred doing the rubbing out, not like rubbing one out, but, rubbing out the paint. Well, probably liked the other thing too. But, so, that's where he would have us cover the canvas in burnt umber, and then we would take a paper towel or a cloth and kind of rub the highlights out. So he preferred working that way, which I preferred as well. And then it wasn't until after school, really, that I gave it a shot. Long after, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, really, with that dwarf painting, because I saw some people getting, some really, really nice effects with it. I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to do that. And I had fun with it. I did. But I prefer these colors, and it's funny how much of painting is about that. Just like what feels good to you as the artist and what allows you to kind of see where it's going. And what feels like the least amount of a battle to get it there. So... I gotta hand it to these transparent oxides, transparent iron oxides. Man, they got it going on. Yeah, man, super versatile. I gotta say, so I got these from, I ordered them online from Blick, but they're Williamsburg, and I have no idea why they don't have the swatch on the transparent brown oxide. I saw it online. I figured, no, it'll come with the swatch because Williamsburg, that's what they do. They put a swatch with the actual paint on the tube, which is super helpful, by the way. It's not like Winsor Newton where they just do this like print color. Like Williamsburg actually it's an actual swatch of the paint. So you get to see what it looks like when it's dry, the actual color. Very helpful. Also, welcome Jay-Z. How you doing, brother? We're just doing some monochrome painting here, having some fun. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna do something and I don't remember. His hands. Just wanted to clarify that a little bit. Yeah, and I also can't take credit for the transparent oxide thing on, as far as on my behalf. I picked that up from Richard Schmid. So he uses those instead of burnt sienna stuff. And I was like, ooh, I want to see what that's about, because, he gets just beautiful colors and skin tones. I'm like, wait, if he's starting his skin tones with that, like I'll use burnt sienna, but it doesn't feel as clean when you mix it with white. I mean, cleaner than like burnt umber does, but it's still not terribly clean. Whereas these just feel nice when they're mixed with white. Now I've got some olive green working in here too, so some of the colors get a little muted. Though on stream you can barely tell. It looks pretty hot. COVID PSAs. Man. I've been seeing a lot of those. So, hey man, if they're keeping the artists going, hell yeah. I mean, not hell yeah to COVID, but I'm gonna bring this guy out just a little. We'll have to refocus, do our little white balancing here. Just because I wanted to get a little bit on this hand, though, not much. I don't really know what I want it to be doing, so. Too much. Still work on that face. Got a ways to go. I don't want this camera in my face. There we go. There. Back up when you do it right there. Otherwise, if I focus without that white card, for anyone that doesn't know about white balancing, the camera will pick up all this stuff as being white. And it is far from white. So I don't like when the exposure's off. So one of my big pet peeves with the which started with the iPhone 11, which is what this is the 11 Pro Max. By the way the hell too big. I'm going with the 12 Pro, not the 12 Pro Max. But what happened was the iPhone 10, when you locked the exposure and the focus, right, when you just do the long hold on the screen, it'll give you an AE/AF lock, right? So auto exposure, auto focus lock. And it was great. Use it all the time. Super handy for, shooting, drawing videos and all that stuff. Then all of a sudden with the iPhone 11, they add all this bullshit in that the camera starts doing, like it makes all the choices for you. All you gotta do is push the button and you get amazing photos and videos and blah blah blah. Except that it will, even when you lock the exposure, depending on what moves in and out of frame, it will still adjust the exposure. It will not fully lock it. So annoying. Lennis, so glad you could stop by. 1 a.m., yes, that is bedtime. Faux show. You sleep well? And I'll be back on Monday. No idea what the hell we'll be painting on Monday, though, so... Couldn't say. Maybe we'll be doing oils, maybe something else entirely. Probably oils, though. I'm feeling them. I'm digging them. I dig the oils. One of the things I'm still trying to figure out, though, is what the hell I want to do with oils. Because I don't know. I mean, I love illustration, but I mean, come on, the amount of time it takes to do an illustration in oils, not worth what most places are going to pay. Meaning places that would actually utilize an oil painting, so that's kind of a tough one. Yeah, I'm actually about to get I want some variation, so there is going to be a little more lightness in these teeth, but I don't want them to have like nice clean teeth or anything, because it's just weird when they have these perfect like pearly whites, right? With teeth, there's always the danger of over detailing, and it's best to kind of simplify them into more or less a mass, a single mass. If any, the most I'll generally do is have that detail around the gum line, just to, it's enough to show individual teeth. And then I want to catch that one. I want to show that he's got a bit of a gap there on that side. I mean, if you want to show someone like super fucked up teeth, then yeah, you could actually put a lot of detail, because that's generally what it'll start to look like if you put tons of detail into them. I'm liking how this guy's looking. Getting a little bit more of the red oxide in, just to cheat some color in his nose and stuff. Bit of want to break between his mustache and his beard. Mustachio. So if there's anyone just joining, I am referencing an old drawing that I did. I'm not sure when. I don't know when I posted it. And there's no guarantee that I posted it when I actually did it. So, there's always that. This is saying from 4 years ago. That actually sounds about right. Probably is 4 years ago, but it could be 5 years ago that I actually drew it. But it, it's just kind of a reference point for me. I'm deviating from it a bit, just because I can. I don't want to go overboard on the lights in his hair because I actually want him to have dark hair, so we're gonna have to a little bit of work with the shadows too at some point. Hey, Viscera Obscura, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining the Landerman clan. The Lander clan. The Clanuel Clanderman. The Landerman clan. Where I want his thumb to be. So I'm gonna have to catch some light on that, so I better know where it is. I like how he's got his little, like, dainty grip on his blade. Catching some light. I think that's how he got blinded in one eye. But he's not going to tell it that way. He's going to tell about some siren or kraken or who knows what. I don't know why Nightbot didn't. want Night Thought to ban you, I can make that happen if you know, you're feeling left out. Or, you know, ask Autumn. He loves to ban people. The guitar was shredding. Now we're all chill. Jay-Z is, I think you had mentioned a while ago that your dad was gonna come into town or something at some point. Did that happen, or is that still happening? Gotcha. Well, maybe after Thanksgiving we should figure out a time to actually chill in person a little bit. I mean, I know they're locking shit down here a bit too right now, but you know, we could probably figure out some outdoor scenario or something. Girlfriend and I are getting a Rona test tomorrow just because we're going to her folks' place for Thanksgiving. So, you know, just being on the safe side. Don't want to endanger the folks. This is where I do want his shirt to be lighter. I don't want to go too crazy in the shadows with that, but yeah, dude, we definitely should. I know you've kind of been here just kicking it all by your onesie. Can't have that. Figure his shirt, I'm not going to say it's a white shirt because, well, it was probably off-white to begin with, and then it's probably all kinds of messed up now, but the point is, it's much lighter than his beard. So, let's get a bit of that where it would be catching some light. And man, now that it's not like 1,000 degrees outside anymore, right? It's all nice and cool, which has been fantastic for sleeping. Love it. I don't think I'm gonna actually keep this all monochrome for now. I don't know ultimately what color I'll do on the bandana. So I'm basically just doing all, it's just a transparent oxide and white. Occasionally I'm using the olive green to kick some of the heat down, but not shifting the color. So for now, that's the plan. And I just like how it looks right now. I kind of don't want to touch the bandana yet. It's got kind of some fun marks that honestly, even if I went to color on this, I would even consider keeping that bandana as it is, just because I really like the marks. And one thing I learned through some hard-fought lessons was, you see marks that you love, don't touch them. Just, don't fuck it up. Because chances are you ain't getting them back. So that'll probably be the last thing I do. And it's only if I feel like the painting can't bear keeping it as it is. But I think if anything, I would let it dry completely and then maybe glaze. Because right now it looks almost metallic with that kind of a highlight. So I think I would let it dry completely and just glaze the whole thing a little darker to kick that highlight down. I mean, I could probably do that right now. That stuff right here is actually very dry, so because it's so thin and mostly Gamsol. I remember in one of our classes we had the teacher, Bob Cotto, him walking around at one point and just being like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, okay, everyone stop. He's like, 20 minutes ago I walked around and I just saw like all these beautiful marks on these paintings, and now they're all gone. You guys just ruined all of them. He's like, what are you guys doing? When you see stuff like that, don't touch it. Like, just keep it. And who cares if it's not completely finished? Like, when you have those beautiful marks, you gotta not touch them. It always made me like very hyper aware of it. Granted, it took me a long time to actually learn how to stop, you know, be like, wait, no, and be okay with it, you know, like give yourself permission to say, hey, it's fine, just the way it is. You're a beautiful snowflake. We love you just the way you are, even if nobody else does, and if everyone else thinks you're kind of an asshole. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it always takes me at least a few paintings to like really learn to slow down again with oils after I've been doing mostly digital. You know, because digital, it's not a big deal. You accidentally paint over a mark, whatever. Control Z it, Command Z it, whatever. Or, you know, delete that layer, however you're doing it. You know, and you get used to that, and then you break out the paints, the real paints, grown-up paints, and you're used to rushing, you know, and then inevitably fuck something up, and you can't take it back. And then you're like, okay, cool, I gotta slow down. And then you fuck up something else. Can't take it back that time either. Whether I'm painting in oils or digital, I love to blend those lights in and get that, you know, razor sharp calligraphy happening, because come on, son. Shit's hot. Yeah. Yeah. Many, many mud paintings. As you're like trying to fix it, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. I can't get over how like dry this brown oxide is compared to the red oxide. It's crazy. It's kind of cool though. Kind of fun. Mixing in some of that walnut oil gel. I didn't know, but it's made right here in California. Northern California. Willits, go figure. I think they're kind of known for walnuts up there, actually. I think they have a bunch of walnut groves, pretty sure. Walnuts and, oddly enough, hippies and rednecks. Say hippies and hicks, not necessarily rednecks, but oh, I was gonna do some. What was it? Yeah, caught up mixing some darks. Some nice rich darks. Just mixing the. That's just the brown and the red oxide. That's cool. I can dig it. I mean, man, you mix some olive green into that, and it's you basically just have about as black as you need. Or you could just mix these and have a really nice warm black. Could throw a little bit of ultramarine if you wanted to darken it even more. Sexy. I'm debating, I'm just hesitating a little bit because I don't know if I want to change it. It changes the key of the lighting just a little bit if I do this. But I think we'll go ahead and say, fuck it, let's do it. I just got to kind of make sure I don't break up the shadows too much. I don't want it everywhere. I don't want to put this like heavy dark all over. I'm going to use it more as an accent, just to reinforce some of the shapes, some of those shadow shapes. Thank you, sir. And welcome, Just John. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this, I gotta say. It's crazy how much... I don't know if it kind of comes through on the stream. It's crazy how much color it still sort of seems to have. Even though it's, I mean, literally like transparent oxide, white, and a tiny bit of olive green. And that's it. But it's like just those little kind of slight warm and cool shifts are enough to give it the feeling of having a lot more color. I'm kind of in love with these transparent oxides, I gotta say. Do need to fix what's happened with the hand, because if he's got his this guy should, even if it does dip down below, should be casting a shadow. he's relating the tall tale of how he got blinded in one eye. Don't believe a word he says. Hands are another one where I actually don't like to separate every single shape. I don't think they read that well if you do it that way. I think it's best to unify some of the shapes. That's going to be a little rough though. Let's, I think, pull that knuckle up a little. Want him to have those slightly like sunken knuckles. Actually, that's not even the right angle. I mean, those could be, but the hand isn't, so it's, anyway, yeah, it's like sunken knuckles from probably way too much brawling, drunken brawling. And pillaging. Right? That's all that happened. He was drunk up in the crow's nest and it lived up to its name. And he lost an eye. Now he tells everyone it was some crazy battle or something. But really, he had just been like talking shit to the crow, and crows remember, man. They remember when people are mean to them. They don't like it. I used to think, yeah, because you're always told, like, don't scrub your brush on the painting, and I get why they tell, you know, students that, because it's not the way you want to learn. And then I was shocked when I saw video of Steve Houston painting, and like that's all he does is like scrub his brush. I'm like, what? That's how he makes those amazing paintings? It's like mind blown. He's such a badass, he can do whatever the hell he wants. finessing some edges that I want to play with. Yeah, man. Crows and the Ravens. I always loved watching the Ravens around work. And then, one day it was like after work, it was, when it was still kind of light when we would leave. And I saw these two catbirds, the mockingbirds, right, just going nuts around these ravens. And you kind of think, haha, yeah, that's what they do when they get too close to their nest, right? And I see this raven fly into this tree. Mockingbirds are going nuts. And then I see the raven fly out, and it has like a little baby bird in its beak. And I was like, well, that's sad. Not cool. I love ravens, but come on. I knew they did that, but it's always different when you actually see them do it. Like, that's just fucked up. Big bullies. Little mockingbirds alone. They just want to sit there and mock the car alarms and whatever. I still love ravens, so pretty magical and somewhat creepy birds. Man, one time we'd gone to Death Valley, and the ravens in Death Valley are crazy. Like, they have these gnarly beaks, right? Like, full on got these weird like bumps and knobs and shit on their beaks, and they're big. And you go into certain areas of Death Valley, and it is just silent. Like, if you stop and hold your breath, I mean, you feel almost like a weird pressure on your ears because there is not a sound. And then you would look over, and there would be some creepy ass giant raven just like staring at you. And you're just like, okay, I need to go find people now. I'm scared. This raven's gonna like curse me and eat me. Right, it's like one of those things where you half expect the raven to start talking or something. Yeah, I know it's a circle of life, but, it's still... Poor little baby bird. I wasn't feeling that hand. It just felt random and forced, so... None of that shit. Alright, as Scott Christensen says, only what the painting can bear. And it's true. You have to think about that. And if it's not benefiting the painting, another thing that Harvey Dunn says, if you're stuck on a painting and you're trying to figure out what else to add to make it better, take something out. I like that. So it's interesting. I feel like as humans we are constantly trying to create pattern and repetition, and as a result, we often overcomplicate things for ourselves. You know, even when we know we shouldn't, we do it. I mean, it's no wonder the samurai, like, initially just strove their entire life just to achieve simplicity, you know? Shit's hard. Stuff's hard. Do you see the size of that chicken? Just a little thick. Let's peg there. I gotta say, painting monochrome, way the fuck easier. And then the nice thing is you can't just like glaze color. If you want to get a little more air in the shadows, you can, you know, scumble a little bit of you know, lighter color in there. I do want to kind of, I want the sleeve of his shirt to be a little kind of messed up, but I'm gonna bring some light in there just to catch a bit. But let's regulate any stealing of this property, and we're damn good too. Am I quoting Young Guns or Warren G? I don't know. Let's switch this up just a little bit, just so that we can, you know, have some different marks in here. We don't need everything to be the same. In fact, we don't want everything to be the same, right? That ain't fun. That'll be a little closer to the candle. Paint one of the. I'm not sure. For me, I think I have my art station on Twitch, right? Do I have my art station on my Twitch? I think it's there. I don't update my art station as much as I should, because I think. Okay, cool. I think sometimes we get a little lazy when we get so used to being able to just use Instagram or whatever. Although realistically, I could just use the ArtStation app and upload from there. I don't know why I don't. I should do that. But I'm not sure why people wouldn't. At least, if they have it and it's somewhat maintained, I would think that they would want to show that. Because what I like about ArtStation is that you can see stuff higher resolution and just better quality without the fucking compression from Instagram, right? Because then even if you have Instagram post onto Facebook, it's still compressed like crazy, whereas at least ArtStation, you can still see a good quality. So I that's a good question though. I don't know. I have no answers for you, Frodo. My art station is all over the place. But that's kind of how I am as an artist. I feel like doing a ton of digital. Oh, I'm tired of digital. I'm gonna do just a bunch of pencils, and then I'm gonna randomly do some brush pen drawing. And you know what? It's been too long since I've watercolored. I want to watercolor and gouache. And now they just look like a stepping stone to oils. So let's get back to oils, which is what we are doing today, because it's been too long. And I'm trying to be more disciplined with my oils now. I think sometimes in the past I would get back into them, but then I would quickly bite off more than I could chew, and I'd get a little discouraged, and then just kind of feel like, you know what, I don't have time for this, I have other more important stuff. But I'm at this point, I really would like to do something with my oil painting. I just need to, ramp it up a little bit more. Got a dark back in there, but he was looking almost like he had a cat eye, which is creeping me out. Wait, you don't like ArtStation formatting for posts to Instagram? What? I don't understand that. Are you drunk, Autumn? Rum. Maybe I'm drunk. gotcha. I've actually never tried to post to ArtStation from my phone. So I don't know if it does anything weird in that regard. You shut the fuck up. Stupid thing to say to me. Buckle. Go in. Let's get a little bit of... For anyone wondering, if you don't already know, Art Turkel and I are like best friends and co-workers. If you wonder why I so flippantly shrug off everything he says. Go give him a follow. He is also a fellow streamer and creator. He does some awesome shit. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I'm at that point in this where I'm kind of like, I don't know how much. I don't want to go too far with the detail because there's a lot of like ambiguity in here that I quite like. I think it needs a little bit more, but this is kind of where I'm gonna go a little slow. And be careful. And deliberate. I feel like you should not have super clean fingers, right? No super clean fingers. I mean, some of that probably wouldn't come through until I actually like really render some stuff, but whatevs. I'll still catch some highlights though. Some of that nice red oxide. Check your shit. I do want a little bit more information in his hair, because I wasn't thinking that he would have like black hair. Plus, if his mustachios are waxed, let's get a little bit of him. This is one of those where I really wish I could Control Z those marks I just made, but instead we just gotta paint and paint back in. Not a big deal. Just takes tiny bit longer. But I actually kind of don't mind it, but we're still gonna paint back in because I kind of do mind it, so. Be decisive. Either you like it or you don't. It either works or it doesn't. There is no good enough, right? That's one of the things we learn in our old age. Let's see. Let me test. I test. Insta. Yeah, works for me. Yeah, his Insta works for me, so I don't know. And 17. be careful of making his hair, like, although I kind of like the idea of his hair being like really nice and luscious. I think that's kind of funny. Like if I make him all kind of dirty and gnarly, but then he's just got this like beautiful like brunette hair. Could be something kind of charming in that. Let's think about where shadow would actually be cast higher up, so we would be catching some light on his hair here. All kind of depends on where that candle is. Bedtime reminder. Hey, Kalada Samu, thank you and welcome. Yeah, I'm imagining he's lit by a candle. If you're just joining, I'm basing it on an old drawing I did from like 4 or 5 years ago. So I have that up as kind of loose reference, but taking some liberties, obviously, with the painting. And having a ton of fun doing it. 'Cause pirates! Pirates! He's telling the story about how his eye got blinded to whoever will listen. It's also a chance for me to test out these two new colors that I got, which are these two transparent oxides, right? A transparent brown iron oxide and transparent red iron oxide, because I am using them to replace burnt umber, burnt sienna, and Italian terra rosa after far too long of dealing with those colors. So I wanted to kind of get to know these colors a little bit, and I felt like this was a good way to do it. And I absolutely love the colors. Having a blast. They are a pleasure to work with. I like them so much more than those others. Exactly. And you know this story is never the same twice. And how many crown-sanctioned scalawags he defended the ship from differs depending on how much he's had to drink. How many of those Navy bastards. And I have to say, this is like a much nicer way to sort of paint, I guess, kind of out of my head, you know, because it's essentially monochrome. They're both transparent oxide, so made from the same pigment. And, you know, I could easily just like glaze color into this later. And, color. I gotta actually get some shadow on the top of this sleeve, otherwise it ain't gonna make no sense. I don't want to put shadow here because I love that edge of the hand, even though technically there would be shadow there, but I'm not gonna do it. You can't make me. Why am I on Discord? It's actually because my camera doesn't work with OBS on the PC. It worked with OBS on the Mac, but it doesn't work with OBS on the PCs. So, but it does work in Discord. So, I'm just capturing me on Discord for OBS. Yeah, that was my clever workaround. Yeah, I'm not terribly worried though. Honestly, like that's something where the printers now, I mean, they can do a pretty good job of getting close as long as you know what you're looking at. So like for me, what I would do is I would scan it in, and then I would probably do some tweaks in like the camera raw filter or something like that in Photoshop, and make sure the colors kind of, you know, coincide. But also once they dry, at least the brown iron oxide, once it dries, it doesn't get as intense. I mean, we'll see what it's like after I varnish it, whenever that is. I'm not sure, but plus, I intend to bring actual color into this. But all of these kind of earth tones tend to print pretty well, I feel, especially with most of the newer printers actually having orange ink. Well, Deb, thanks for the warning. I do work in print professionally for the last 13 years, so not too worried. And currently also I'm not painting these with reproduction in mind. I'm more interested in getting a good painting with very archival and light fast pigments than reproduction. If I feel like doing it, is its own battle. But I would never do a painting worrying about how it's going to print unless print was the end result, right? So if I was printing it for like a spot illustration in a book or a book cover or something like that, I would take it into account. But for something like this, I would never base my pigment choices on that. Side of like maybe it would catch some light on the inside of the sleeve, but I'm very hesitant to do that. And this thumb is looking a little ambiguous. Thumbs. Well, no, I mean, of course, it's not impossible for stuff to not turn out right. I mean, typically it's when you get into the like purples and blues, but then it also kind of depends on the printer, meaning that the physical, not the place you go, but the actual physical printer, right? Because some printers handle purples and blues beautifully, like they're built around that, but then maybe they won't handle the oranges and stuff so well. But that's also why a lot of the newer printers, they're now equipping them with more colors of ink so that they can actually mix more of those colors. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, but usually it becomes more of a challenge based on saturation. And I will say on stream, it actually looks more saturated than what I'm seeing in person. It's probably because I'm using my iPhone, which tends to do that. Because the iPhone thinks it knows best and is just like, no, people like more color, so I'm gonna saturate your shit. So I mean, right now it's just very, like, it is a rich, warm brown, but nothing that couldn't be printed right now. If I went crazy with the color later on, that might be a different story. But again, I would never base my pigment choices on that unless print was my primary goal. First and foremost, I just want a nice looking painting that I am hopefully happy with. I have done some crazy colors on some of the movie posters that I have and game covers that I've illustrated, and we've never really had issues printing. to me, when it comes to painting, more than anything, it's imaging the painting that is the toughest part. I feel like if you can get a good image of the painting, then you can get a good print of it. But that imaging can be a big challenge. Alright, I'm not going to go too far on this. Oh, right on, Mr. Obscura. I'm glad. I'm glad you were able to hang out. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Call it pretty soon myself. Hesitant to. We can bring a little bit of opacity in here. I don't mind. I'm sometimes hesitant to bring any kind of, especially at this stage, to bring any kind of opacity into what is supposed to be like the shadows, essentially. But a little bit, it's okay. Again, I think I would rather than going lighter there, I would prefer to go bring in a little more dark. Yeah, it also kind of depends on how it's being printed, what kind of paper it's being printed on, especially. I mean, it's hard, unfortunately, when you get into like the really nice museum quality, like photo rag papers. They're gorgeous, but they tend to dull out colors a bit. Even though you would think like, well, hey, it's a museum paper that's meant for printing. You would think it would handle color beautifully, but a lot of times they will actually dull out the colors a little. And then the actual printer, like, it also depends on how new the printer is, you know? If it was a printer that you like really needed to convert your files to CMYK first and all that stuff, like, they just didn't handle colors as well, you know? With any of the newer printers, like, really every now and then at work we'll get a request from a client to convert files to CMYK, and we're just like, what the hell is this, like 1999 CMYK? Like, most of the new printers now, you know, they do any conversion automatically. You just load your RGB file, and actually a lot of the newer ones print better off an RGB file than they do off a CMYK file, even though the inks are CMYK. Although now a lot of the new Epsons and stuff, they've added all kinds of secondary colors in there too, right? You've got the CMYK plus like a red and an orange, you know, and then like maybe a couple blues or something, and you're just like, geez, you guys are going nuts. but it makes for better printing and easier printing, right? Yeah, so most of the printers now, like, they do all those conversions automatically. By the way, Fanged Bunny, welcome back. I don't think I realized you were back, so welcome. Everyone give Fanged Bunny a follow as well. Oh yeah, there's a lot to learn with printing. Fanged Bunny. Go give her a follow. She does awesome stuff. And I was hanging out in her stream for like half the day today, and it was fantastic. Lots of good info. I like fellow artists that drop gems. Yeah, man, I loved hanging out in your stream today. I thought it was fantastic. You know, one of those things where it's like we're all kind of learning on this art journey together, so it's always nice to kind of hear what kind of journeys other folks are on, you know? Realized his vest was getting to be the same value as the shirt, and I want the shirt to be lighter. So we'll just get some nice juicy brush marks in there, and then call it. Straight here. There we go. I get it. Got it. Good. Yeah. Pretty chill around these parts. Get rowdy in Archer Kell's stream. It's a little hard to get rowdy when you're oil painting, though. catch a little bit of light over here. I don't want to go too crazy with it. Slope of that shoulder was bugging me. And let's lose some edges, shall we? A little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, right? I mean, Twitch has just been like so great for us artists, like just being able to kind of expand our communities and just the people that we know, and hopefully, you know, once things are somewhat open again, maybe, you know, we can all go to conventions again and actually meet. Wouldn't that be wild? Okay, I feel like I should darken. I don't want to lose the edge on his knuckles, but I think it doesn't have to be so high contrast, so we can darken this stuff. Tad bit of white in there just for the opacity. There. Weird. All right. No way. I don't want to ruin all that nice brushwork. Make it a pitch dark, because I don't envision him being outside. I actually envision him being more in like a tavern or something. But yeah, I wouldn't want to lose all that nice brushwork in the background. And then I'd lose these nice shapes here too. Can't do that. Can't do that. Veto. Veto. No, dude, this dude's just about done. Just about, but not quite. Let's get some more folds and stuff happening here. I mean, just about done for this, and then I would let it dry, and then decide what kind of colors I want to bring in if I want to. I might not. I wouldn't mind glazing some colors into his face and his hands. I think that would be fun, like bringing some ruddy kind of reds and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Weird, right? Well, knowing that I'm going to glaze colors in later, I can't really see what I would do. Although, I mean, I will say, you know, yes, I love this, but now this doesn't quite work, and I just want to kick that white down, right? Because that was too light. It just wouldn't, unless he had a white bandana on, which that's not what I envisioned there. But we don't have to like totally fuck up the brushwork there. Just knock that light down. Do a couple little finishing marks. And this is just to get our eye kind of moving around. All right, okay. Think. You see any little spots that need? I do. I probably don't have the chat rules up in up on YouTube, huh? But on Twitch, it specifically says backseat rolling. But I don't have any blue. Deb? I'm literally working with transparent brown iron oxide, transparent red iron oxide, and white. That's it. There is no blue. I did cheat with a little bit of olive green to take some of the heat out of some of the areas, but I haven't dipped into the olive green in like 2 hours, so. I think we're gonna call it because I'm happy with where it is, and if I go any further, it would just be rendering, and I don't want to do that. I think when I bring a little bit of color in, I will probably get into a little bit of maybe some textile kind of work, but I wouldn't want to do that here. So I have no idea what the hell I would want to, where I'd want to go with that. So I like where it turned out. It's not bad for, 3.5 hour sketch. I can dig it. What? Check out, zooming up a few lines. It's great. What did he say? Wait, how many lines? Oh, there he is. There he is. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good with it. I say, as I just want to clarify this. Shadow a bit. Like to unify it a little. It was a little too ambiguous for my taste. All right. I'm gonna call it. There's no sense going further. Plus, I gotta go to bed. Yeah, a little 3.5 hour oil sketch. Honestly, and I don't say this often, it did turn out better than I thought it would. I think it turned out as good as I hoped it would, but it turned out better than I thought it would. Well, it's late for me because I get up at like between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, so so yeah, it's getting late for me. Yeah, thank you, Fanged. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Once I soften, never use your fingers for oil painting, kids. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Sorry, I saw hard edges where they shouldn't be, so couldn't help it. Oh, jeez. I can't go off at 5 hours. Yes, don't worry. I will wash my hands thoroughly. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure as hell did. I'm super stoked on this. Had a blast. So, who knows? Maybe we'll do another one of these on Monday, because I don't know how... Maybe this will be dry by Monday. Maybe it'll be dry enough, but this walnut oil gel extends the drawing time, so some of it might not be dry. If it's not, we'll get into something new Monday night and have fun with that too. So, until Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, I hope y'all have a great weekend. And I'm sure I'll catch you later, Fanged. Faux show. Fanged, when do you stream next? Inquiring minds want to know. Tuesday morning. Cool. Well, I'll be there. So, all right, my friends. Y'all take care. Take care of yourselves and each other's. And go forth, be fruitful, and draw.